Hi there guys, this is Leah from Happy Ham Ham. I hope you're all good and having a good day. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video guys, this is an open message to a person who goes by the name The Mad Scientist, and I'm also going to be kind of doing this for yous guys as well, just so that yous can understand why what this person is doing is wrong, and hopefully it will help to create a change in his perspective of these small animals. So for those of you that aren't aware, the Mad Scientist, which is not obviously his actual name, but we're just going to call him that because that's the name that he prefers to go by, he actually runs a channel called I Chose Hampture. I hope I'm saying that right. There's a high chance I'm not because I'm dyslexic and a wee bit daft, so hopefully that's the right way of saying it. Basically what Mad Scientist is doing is he's actually putting hamsters into underwater enclosures. So in order for him to do that, he's taking a tank, making his own containers and things like that that he then puts inside the tank. From what I can see, they are 100% watertight, no water can get in. There's no risk, as far as I'm aware, of the animal actually drowning. There's no risk of the animal suffocating, but there is obviously a lot of things that are wrong with the actual setup themselves. And I want to address this and provide a solution for you, Mad Scientists, so is that not only do you get to enjoy doing what it is you enjoy doing, but the animal also gets what it needs. I'm gonna have a wee sip of my tea, I think, because tea's good for your soul. So I'm actually going to be breaking this video up into 3 separate parts, okay? First of all, I'm going to be talking about your bin cage, because the bin cage is actually the biggest part of your solution. Now, there is definitely a few things that are wrong with this setup, and we're definitely going to be discussing this and addressing it. Then we're going to be talking about your actual water enclosure and why that is wrong and what you can do to fix that. And then we're going to be talking about enrichment. Right, so guys, what I've done is I've taken screenshots of the setups and things like that. I'll leave them somewhere on the screen so that you guys can see them as well. While I look at them, I'm going to go over some of your basic information about them. And the reason I'm starting off with the bin cage is because the bin cage is actually the correct size from what I can see. Now, in this photo that I'm looking at here, the only thing that I will say that is pretty bad about the outside is that there doesn't seem to be enough ventilation. Hamsters have got very, very easy to upset respiratory systems, so it's important that you do have enough ventilation there. Size-wise, over in the US, the minimum cage size is 450 square inches. Now, in a previous video, Mad Scientist, you did actually say that you couldn't find any evidence on pet care sites, only pet forms, and I want to just address this. If you're looking at pet care sites, such as, I don't know if it's different over in the US, but for a lot of us, pet care sites are actually related to pet shops, and pet shops deliberately misinform people. So pet forms like Hamster Hideout and so on, they are actually more accurate and are backed by science as opposed to your pet shops. So I just wanted to address that there. As well as this, here in the UK, the minimum cage size is actually 620 square inches, so it's a little larger than what you guys have over in the US, but that is for all species. So your argument of, oh, Syrian, that these measurements are for Syrian hamsters and not dwarf hamsters, doesn't fling by us over here in the UK. All hamsters are treated equally despite their species. Syrians, definitely try and go larger if you can, but for dwarf hamsters, definitely stick to the Syrian minimum, and the reason for that is because of how active they actually are. So I just wanted to address that first of all. The main thing that I'm concerned about on the outside is lack of ventilation. Size-wise, it's okay though, it's a good size. Now if we look on the inside, this is where we've got a little bit of an issue. Now the first thing I will say, I definitely like the fact that you've got chew toys. Chew toys is definitely something that is underrated and not something that everybody actually provides. Hide wise, I feel as if you could probably put some more hides in there. That's just me. When it comes to my animals, I always make sure there's at least, I think the most I've ever had in Brew's cage was 9 hides in total in his cage, and that wasn't including his dig pit. So I definitely think you could definitely put some more hides in there. What I will say though, I don't know if that is a fleece that you have got down on the bottom of your cage, but I would just take that out and just completely cover the whole thing in Carefresh, because Carefresh is not only a safe bedding, it's not exactly the cheapest, I'm aware of that, but the larger an area surface is, the less bedding you're going to be going through long term. But it's also very good for actually holding tunnels. And you're right, these animals are burrow animals, and therefore they should have access to burrow. And one small corner like that isn't going to cut it. Especially for dwarf hamsters and robos, they really like burrowing. Wheel, spot on, that is a good size for a dwarf animal, dwarf hamster, sorry. Just to kind of summarise, add more bedding in, remove that fleece sheet, get more bedding in there. Wheel's absolutely fine, get more hides in there, and definitely keep more chew toys in, and you'll be absolutely golden. Cage size, it's absolutely fine. Oh, and ventilation. Hi, Sushi. Hello. You're going to get grabby at me because I'm about to move you. I'm about to move you. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the smaller underwater enclosures. Now, before I do, I want to go over something that might be a bit touchy, and that is ethics. Now, my ethics is totally different from your ethics. I get my ethics based off of what I've seen on, like, just general my animals' attitudes and their behaviour. I get it off of information from breeders and rescues. You seem to be getting your ethics from what would suit you and not your animal. Now, because my ethics are actually backed more along the lines of science and what I know to be correct based off of my animal behaviour, it then makes me a little bit salty, I'm not gonna lie, when I see somebody who has more subscribers actively sitting there misinforming people. You have said that your cages for your underwater enclosures are around the same size as oval trails. Now, first of all, that's not true, and I know that's not true because those are designed for Syrians, and you've got dwarf hamsters, and the dwarf hamsters look huge in there. Right, so I know for a fact that they're not the same size. They're not. Second of all, we as part of the community don't recommend oval trails unless for two reasons. One, it's a travel cage, and two, it's connected to a much larger bin cage that is unbroken floor space above or on your minimum square inches for your country. So I'm going to be looking at your smaller cages that go into the actual water. Right now, I will say one thing, this concept is doable, but not with the cages that you've got going on just now. It's a very, I won't lie to you, it's not my cup of tea, this kind of setup, personally. I think it's a bit bonkers. They're too small. They're too small. The minimum over here in the UK, the 620 square inches, that is set out by rescues. So we are not allowed to actually adopt an animal from most rescues if we have a cage below that area surface size. And this size needs to be unbroken. You can't have several different cages connected together and that's it. It's got to be 100% unbroken floor space. You are right when you say that you would need a large enclosure for an animal that we can't provide, and that's why you have a wheel there. But this is the problem, and that is just because we can't 100% replicate it doesn't then mean that we shouldn't try our best to replicate it more, if that makes sense. In your enclosures, I can see that the wheel for starters is too small. Robos and dwarfs need at least an 8-inch wheel, and the reason for that is so that the spine doesn't curve, and that includes when it's a silent spinner. Because what will happen is, instead of, so just pretend that's the animal's back, on a normal wheel the back would arch up that way. What's going to happen is we're going to flip it, pretend this bit here's the back will go like that. So they're sitting curved like this as they're running on their wheel, and that can cause back pain still. So yeah, the wheel size itself, too small, needs upgrading. Floor space can't be broken floor space, but I have a solution for you. And I'm going to go over that at the end. Now, this picture here is not one of the pictures that I'm just going to be talking about alone, because I do remember you saying that you're upgrading to another cage for the underwater enclosure. And I will say one thing, I like the fact that you've put in extra space there for bedding so that the animal can actually dig. I do like that. However, it's still too small. The area surface itself, like I said, needs to be at least 450 square inches. In a past video as well, something that did catch my attention in a past video, there was a moment where you were connecting two smaller cages together, and you said something along the lines, a little bit of leakage is okay when the hamster was inside. That's not okay. That's not alright, and the reason that's not alright is because the moisture would get trapped inside with the animal, right? So even if it's just a little bit, just a tiny bit, that's going to build up moisture, it's going to build up mold and bacteria, and that's going to affect the animal's respiratory system. We've already gone over why you need a lot of ventilation in a cage, because the animals have got really poor respiratory systems. They will get ill as a result, and it's your fault because you're like, oh, a little leak is okay, when it's not appropriate at all. So in a few of your past videos you have had things happen such as the hamster burrowing under the wheel and so on, and you will notice these things and you will actually say because of mysterious hamster reasons or mysterious hamster ways. For somebody like myself that understands animal behaviour when it comes to hamsters, this is not mysterious hamster reasons. This is boredom. This is bored and fed upness. Hamsters are very much underrated when it comes to their intelligence. They aren't the most smartest animals in the world, don't get me wrong, but they have got enough intelligence that they can do puzzle solving when it comes to food. They enjoy the challenge. I can hear badgers up. They enjoy challenges and so on. So if the wheel is the only enrichment this animal has, that is going to be very boring. It's kind of like me putting you in a cupboard and saying you're living in here for a month. There is a treadmill, but by the way, it's too small for you. That's kind of what you're doing, and you need to improve that. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. So I'm going to go back over to solutions. So at the start of this video I actually did say that I had thought of a solution, and it's such a simple one that I can't believe other people haven't mentioned it to you. It's the same as what we would do with any other small cage that can be connected to a larger one. You connect them. So have your bin cage as the main cage, right? But connect your underwater enclosures to your bin cage. That resolves the entire issue. That resolves everything. That means you get what you want, you can continue being creative, you can continue making what it is you love doing, whilst at the same time giving the animal what it needs, as well as the option of whether or not it wants to go into those cages, as opposed to you putting them in those cages that are too small for months at a time. Let the animal have the option. And it's such a simple wee thing. I don't know if it's doable, but I think somebody with your creative talent would have no problem come up with solutions. So there you go. That's my advice to you. Connect the two cages together. The second part I do want to address before I go is enrichment. You need more puzzle toys in your actual underwater enclosures. You can make them very easily. Just get toilet paper tubes, cut them into bits, and then make a wee toy out of them. In fact, has Brew still got his? No, Brew doesn't have his. He destroyed his, didn't he? I'll see if I can make you one just as an example. Bear with me. So my plan was to show you, but I don't actually have no idea where my scissors are, so I can't, which sucks. But all you're doing is cut into 3 or 4 pieces and then wrap it into a ball, make it into a ball by pushing them all together. Shove your treats in there, and that's it. That will provide enrichment and puzzle toys. So mad scientists, please feel free to actually reply to this if you want to. I hope you take my advice on board by connecting the two cages together, because it's a lot better than what you currently have, and it will be better for your animals. I personally don't see any reason why this wouldn't be doable to connect the cages together. It's something that we all recommend people to do when they've got oval cages and they're upgrading to a larger cage. Just connect your smaller cage to your larger cage, as long as it's above the area surface minimum that in your country. it's not an issue. You can do that. In fact, people like Cop and Hammy have done that in the past, and that she doesn't turn around and say not to do it now just because she's got a larger cage. She just doesn't, it's just not necessary because of the cage size that she has. So I hope that's something that you take on board, because it would resolve all your issues. Other than that, guys, I've got work today, so I need to bounce and get myself ready to go to that. That'll be fun. Yay. Now, if you guys want to see more videos, I promise you there is going to be more hamster related videos. I've got 2 really good videos coming up of Badger just being absolutely adorable, and I do have a cage tour going up next week as well. So I will hopefully see you all then. Bye.